This is my custom makerspace workshop.
And it's built into a single bedroom of my townhouse apartment. I'll show you how I optimized every square inch of this room for functionality. I'll show you the features I love, and the features I wish I did differently.
I hope this video gives you some ideas on your shop if you have a limited space like me. For a very long time now, it's been my dream to just be able to build anything that I can think of, and that's one of the purposes of this shop, is just to be able to have everything where it needs to be so that I can take an idea from concept to reality as quickly as possible.
So to begin the tour, let's start with the workbenches themselves. As you can see, the craftsmanship of these things are not the best. I built these things when I just begun my tool collection, and I only had a $50 Amazon circular saw and an impact driver. But some of the features that I built in are really nice. The workbenches are designed to give me as much work area as possible, while making room for the CNC router underneath. The router is a bit difficult to use at times with it near the ground like this, but I think it's a necessary compromise given the small space. I even designed this trapdoor in just in case I need to get in like really large materials. But I've only ever had to use this door once, as most things I've cut have been small enough to fit through the legs. By putting the CNC beneath the level of the desks, I was able to free up an entire work surface, which was actually the perfect spot for my 3D printer. The next thing I want to show off is tool storage. Early on I thought displaying all my tools on a pegboard was the coolest thing ever, and I'll admit, the way I fit things on here like a puzzle is very satisfying. However, I found that a pegboard is not always the way that your tools should be stored. A pegboard is nice for the tools you use very frequently, but I may have gotten carried away in some of this. I spent a lot of time making custom pegboard tool holders for everything with varying levels of complexity. One issue with the pegboard design is that you can quickly run out of room for your tools, and you end up with tools without a home very quickly. Ultimately, I want my work area to have a home for every single tool, so I don't end up with a super messy shop like most typical garage tool cabinets. That environment is just not fun to work in. For small parts storage, I've really liked these organizers from Amazon. Because I have a home for everything, I can keep extra parts like screws and washers from products I buy, and many times they've come in handy for one project or another that I'm doing. I've learned from this that if it's organized, it actually makes sense to hold on to almost anything. Moving over to the closet area, I have some power tools here. The bandsaw is really good for small cutting projects, but the 9-inch limit to the left is very annoying. I had previously wondered why people buy handheld bandsaws and make stands for them, but it turns out those saws have a 45-degree bend in them, so you're not limited to the length of your cut. The next bandsaw I get, I'll hopefully consider this. One of the drawbacks of putting so many tools into a small room like this is that you have to shift the tools around to accommodate large work pieces. This usually isn't too big of an issue, but it's something to consider. The other tools I have in this area are my sander, my scroll saw, and my drill press, as well as this vise which I just got halfway through making this video. All very good tools that I use all the time. When I got the drill press, I was concerned about how close it was to my computer monitor, so I designed a sliding mount that gets the monitor completely out of the way when using the drill press, but I can also use it as a standing desk. The lifting of the monitor is nice and smooth, but taking it down is a bit more of an ordeal. I made this custom mount because I couldn't find any mounts online that actually get it to the height that I wanted it to go to, and I just didn't want to spend any money on it at the time. All of the parts I used to make this I just had lying around, other than the constant force springs, so I only spent $10 on this in total. The other feature of this desk is the ability to turn it into a standing desk by lifting up the front part for my keyboard and mouse. This is definitely one of the parts of the shop I wish I did differently. To show you just how much of an inconvenience this is how I have to switch the desk. Yeah, it's pretty complicated. Part of the problem was that I was just so constrained by space at this point. Between the CNC and making sure I could still get the vacuum out, I had almost no area to work with. Overall, it still works pretty well if I really want to use my setup as a standing desk, but I'd give it like 2 stars. Speaking of the vacuum, my shop vac and air compressor both fit under this area, and I have hoses that reach the entire room when the extension is on. So I can vacuum anywhere, even to the depth of the CNC, without having to take it all out.
Well, that pretty much does it for the features at eye level, so now I just have to show you the wood storage, the air filter, and the custom lighting arm.
All of this is custom, including the mount for the fan. I mounted it sideways so I can reach the dial. My favorite feature of this entire shop is the room light, which doubles as like an arm that I can articulate and put anywhere that I want. It functions as a regular room light when tucked away, and you might not even notice it at first because there's so much to look at in here. But when you need light right where you're working instead of having a lamp with a dangly cord cluttering up your workspace, You can just reach up and put the light exactly where you want it. This has come in handy so many times. I even designed it with a 120 volt rated slip ring, so it doesn't matter how many times I rotated it around, it will not get tangled.
I seriously am going to miss this place whenever I do move, but I hope that the next place that I build will be good enough that I can feel like I can build anything that I can think of and fuel my passion for creating things. So, thanks for watching.